G'day guys, we're taking a break from the travel blog series this week. Just going to do a little bit of exploring in the Mandurah area. We're at a place called Creery Wetlands Nature Reserve. We're just going to, it's all a fenced off area, and apparently there's a population of kangaroos in here. So we're going to take a wander through, see what we can see, and show you what the walk is like. Got this tower structure here that is currently closed. Must be something wrong with it. Since they're doing some maintenance work on it, would have been nice to be able to go up there and take some shots of the water, but not to be this morning. Don't bring your dogs in here for a walk, obviously. They may just do that signage to keep people with dogs out. But obviously, if you've got a population of roos and other animals in here, you don't want domestic animals running around and disturbing them. So there's two distinct walk areas here. There's one going out over the Samphire Marsh Flats, which we'll go and have a look at first, and the second one's heading through the Woodland area down here. There's a signboard behind me and a bit of a shelter. We'll just have a look at that for some information. Prior to the creation of this reserve, it used to be used as a four-wheel drive area, and you can see right in front of me here there's tracks of vehicles, and the problem with that is it was damaging the vegetation and compacting the soil, which was leading to a lot of damage here. You can still see the vehicle tracks years after this reserve was created, and thankfully now it's been closed off and protected, so the reserve is gradually regenerating. Now, a lot of people who've got four-wheel drives think there's no real harm in driving over muddy areas. You can really see the long-term damage that can cause here. That's right in front of me. Those wheel ruts that have been caused by a car coming through here years and years ago have never regenerated. That's the kind of damage you do when you're running over vegetation and going into places where there's not already tracks. So if that had been allowed to continue here, the vegetation would have been very, very severely damaged. So it's important when you're out four-wheel driving, don't go off tracks, don't make new areas subject to the compaction of your vehicle, because it damages the environment. And although this may not look like much to you, it's very important for the animals and the plants that live here. So the natural environment is something we need to protect, and as responsible four-wheel drivers we should stick to the existing tracks. Don't go off making new tracks of your own. Environmentally, this samphire vegetation is really important in stabilizing the shoreline. It's a habitat for a lot of small creatures, and they in turn are food for things like crabs and birds and other larger inhabitants of the area. So although these samphire flats don't look like much to us, they're particularly important to stabilise the coastal wetlands here. The woodland area opens up into this more open area that you walk along, and we're heading for a second, much shorter boardwalk. So it's a fairly decent walk along here, worthwhile coming down and checking it out if you're in the area. Coming through the woodland area, there wasn't much in the way of flowers, some salmony coloured blooms that I think may be weeds, but you get into this more open area and the more bushy area over the other side there. It does look like there are a few more wildflowers around, so hopefully we might find something else. Yeah, it's a nice varied walk. There's different types of vegetation and very pleasant. Got a second short boardwalk here, and that leads out to a bird hide. So if there's any decent bird life on the water out there, a good place to sit and observe, and hopefully have the birds not see you, because once they do, they tend to disappear rather quickly, I found. You can see again there vehicle tracks that are years and years old that takes such a long time to regenerate in these very fragile environments. Very clear lines of demarcation there where the Samphire Flats turn to Woodland. Now there's supposed to be a population of kangaroos in here, and they've also apparently introduced quenda, which are breeding up. The area is protected from cats and dogs, and they have a solar powered electric fence. So the hope is that the quenda population here will build up and become self-sustaining. It's quite a large area, and good spot to introduce those sorts of animals right on the edge of what is a very heavily built up area in Mandurah. Yeah, some very nice varied habitats in this walk. Quite interesting, and especially at this time of year, of course. It's late September, and what flowers there are here are certainly out. Sad to see a lot of weeds around, but can't be helped in these sort of areas, I guess. They've been too degraded for too long to have just native plants, but worthwhile doing. If you're down in the Mandurah area, it's not that far from the centre of town really, and good little parking spot and cafe. Whether that's open or not, I'm not sure today. It's we're a public holiday, which is now I guess the King's birthday. But if you're, like I say, if you're down here and you want to have a nice little walk, yeah, get out here and check it out. Worth doing. And running along the outside of the reserve, there's quite a pleasant park area, so also quite a nice walk. If you want to do a loop, go down through the reserve and you can walk back along the street and up into the park, which is obviously quite nicely maintained.